What's going on, teamers? Welcome to DigiPod, the digital podcast. I'm your boy Varney. Today in the studio, I got my boys Mike and Dan. What's up, y'all?
What's going on?
A little
Hi.
bit of this, a little bit of that. You know how the song goes.
Wow, did you just try to sing like a 90s song real quick?
I didn't try. I succeeded. There's a difference.
I don't know about succeeding, but
Varney even
were you
knows
alive for
the
that? Like,
90s.
jeez.
I may not be the most versed in all things anime/manga related in the early 2000s, but my parents were born in the 70s, so they grew up in the 80s. Therefore, I am at least somewhat decently educated in music of the 80s and the 90s.
Wow.
I don't believe it
Impressive.
for a second.
You want to listen to my freestyle playlist? I love freestyle. Some Stevie B. How? No, I'm not even gonna bother. First of all, before we start, a big shout out to everybody who has went over and subscribed to the Main Phase TCG channel. We are at a whopping 77 subscribers.
Oh, we're at 77 already? Damn.
Oh, you only saw 50? Yeah, we're at 77.
Yeah, I got the notification for saying that we hit the whopping 50. And that
we
was
hit
a couple
50
hours ago?
No, we hit 50 like days ago.
Oh, okay. I guess because I just got I got in yesterday, and then it gave me the notification I think today or whatever it was. Whenever I mentioned
Let me
it
see.
in the chat.
Yeah, I can't see exactly when we hit 50. Oh, wait, hold on. We hit 50 approximately January 11th. On January 11th, we had 55 when it counted. So somewhere between the 10th and 11th, we hit 50. As of right now, as of the recording of this episode, we are at 77, which is really awesome to see. We
also
have two videos
got decent views for the first podcast too. It was like 400 something. Not bad.
Yeah,
bad.
That's what I'm saying. It's pretty awesome. We have two videos up. We have kind of like an introductory video for Gundam. It was the very first video on the channel, and then our podcast. That introductory video is sitting at 485 views with a whopping 31 likes and 1 dislike because obviously somebody doesn't, like this guy.
I
guess
fuck
it must
that.
be.
Fuck
They were like, how dare Barney, the guy,
who the fuck is
for
this guy?
Digimon, the Digimon guy
Gundam
doing
content?
Gundam. How dare he?
What the hell? It's always funny when I see these dislikes on our videos because I'm just like, yeah. You know how they say, like, when you start getting like hate comments and stuff on your video, that's when you
made it.
For people to like start trolling you. Like, it's just funny. Like, there's 30 likes, 485 views, 1 singular dislike.
Hey, those other 450 people, hit that like button while you're at it. Damn.
Yeah. Right. Our podcast, Ready to Deploy, a Gundam card game podcast, that's currently sitting at 386 views, 20 likes. We had a total of, I think, like 6 comments or so. So that's doing pretty well. And then over on Spotify, that podcast is doing pretty well too. I got the notification that we had hit at least 10 listens, but currently we are up to 21 streams. We got 10 followers, 6 hours of consumption time, got a couple comments, so pretty awesome stuff, especially considering that was our very first ever video podcast on Spotify. It was something I was toying around with. Normally,
cool. I didn't know we had that.
To give you guys an insight on how the videos, how the podcasts are edited and uploaded and whatnot. Generally, what we do is since we now have an editor who does our podcast, we generate the audio file, we fine-tune the voices to the way that we like, add the music backing and whatnot, and then we export that and we use that as the audio track for the video, which we then sync up. And then so we upload a separate audio track to Spotify, and then the video export goes up to YouTube. What I did with Gundam is, because Spotify now has video podcasts, I just decided to upload the entire video podcast, because you should be able to listen to you can just cut off the video and then listen to the audio, which I found to be pretty cool. And then if you wanted to watch the video, it's there for you. So I was curious how well that would work, because if that's easier, I'm not generating an audio export for the podcast anymore. I'm just gonna upload the damn video podcast straight to Spotify as well as YouTube. So if you are currently listening to this podcast, you might also be watching it on Spotify, because this very podcast, I was going to say the next podcast, is going to be uploaded as a video podcast. So if you're on YouTube, you can check that out. If you're on Spotify, you didn't know that was a feature, you can check that out. Some pretty cool stuff. Anyways, that's enough rambling about things unrelated to Digimon, because I know somebody out there is like, you just lost a follower talking about that Gundam shit. Today, we are here on DigiPod, the digital podcast, in which our last episode had 95 streams for a total of 38 consumption hours on Spotify.
Nice.
Imagine listening to us for 38 hours straight. It's not really what happened, but
I'd go fucking insane having to hear Dan talk.
Crazy. And Mike's trash takes. Oh, Jesus Christ!
Damn, not the trash takes.
My trash takes. Why don't we calm down there? We know who really has the trash takes here.
Varney, you're right.
You better shut your mouth. I'll shut this podcast off right now. This will be a 6-minute, 10-second podcast. And that
Varney,
is it for today's episode of DigiPod, the digital podcast.
Shut it off right now. I go over there. I finished building some Gundam model kits. I maybe make a new deck. I test out some stuff on the sim. Like, I can have a good night right now if we shut this off early.
Yeah, let's just do it. Let's just shut it off right now. And I'm kidding. So, first thing we talk about, y'all know we do it, is locals. I showed up this weekend because it was the release of EX8. We got some cool cards. I finally got to play Nature Spirits. I decided that I didn't want to play Nature Spirits until it got more support, and that support was the field card. And I have a lot of thoughts on Nature Spirits. I unfortunately recorded a video, and I went to edit said video, and there was some massive ass background noise in my video. So that video is now unusable, which was super unfortunate, because I feel like I had a lot of good thoughts. So Mike and Dan get to, sit here and listen to my rant for the next 10 minutes about my thoughts on Nature Spirits, and maybe you guys will have some good insights.
You want to go run a quick game on the sim real quick, Dan, while this guy just fucking...
Yeah, we don't need to listen to this man real quick. We've heard it already. Go ahead.
So I guess where I'll start with Nature Spirits is it's a really cool deck. I love the idea of the field decks. All of Nature Spirits, I almost said Nature. I did. Nightmare Soldiers and Deep Savers. They're all really cool deck concepts, and they achieve some really cool things. But Nature Spirits, unfortunately, suffers from being the first. It is a deck with a lot of cool concepts, but it just... you can tell it was the first deck that Bandai decided to create that was like that.
Hey, yo, Mike, what you got there, man? What you snacking on?
Yeah, I'm munching on some white cheddar popcorn while Varney's talking.
Ooh.
I know I'm not going to get to talk for 10 minutes, so I'm just enjoying the show, bro. I am watching this as if I'm a viewer. You know what I mean?
There you go.
I'm
it's
having
a live audience member.
Exactly. Yeah.
This man,
I'm having a great time right now.
Yeah, y'all seen the meme, the gif of Michael Jackson eating the popcorn? That's Mike right now.
Yes, sir. I'm having a great time. I'm just vibing. I'm talking to my friends. I'm gonna listen to Varney talk about Nature Spirits. I don't know why we care right now, but we're gonna listen to it. I'm ready.
Because it's a good topic. It's a good topic. And Dan, it's a good topic, especially because I played against Dan in the finals. Dan was playing Nightmare Soldiers. So it really was the battle of the two fields. And even though I won the battle of the fields, it really didn't feel like... It felt like if Dan saw his stuff, he was better set up to do more impactful things than I was able to do, if you can understand what I mean. And the reason I say that is because the best card in the Nature Spirits deck is Eldradimon. And that is a good thing, but it's also a bad thing. Shout out to Cliff, because I talked with Cliff about it, and I share a lot of the same views as Cliff.
Especially since that card is the most important card and is not searchable.
Right. There you go. So that's key point number one. It's not searchable. Nature Spirits is a true multicolor deck, and that is... it's really not a good thing. So we got a Tentomon Searcher. The Tentomon Search is a top 3 for an Insectoid and a Nature Spirits card. So at best, you're pulling 2 cards, but most times, I'd say like 8 times out of 10, you're pulling 1 card. It's a top 3 search for 1 card, which isn't horrible, but I would have preferred like a top 4 search for 2 Nature Spirits cards. I think that would have made it a lot more consistent. The Insectoid line that we got for so it's Tento Kabuteria, Mega Kabuteria, and Hercules Kabuteria. Herc is a trap. Herc is a bad card. It's all right. It's not a Herc. No, it's a bad card. Let me see.
I don't think it's a bad card.
You think Hercules Kabuterimon's a bad card?
It's more of a
Hercules Kabuteria Ace.
It's just Saber Leo does so much more for that deck,
and it's unfortunate that that's the case because Saber Leo does more, and it still doesn't do enough.
I think that you should rephrase it because I think that it's a not good card in the NSP deck, but I actually do think it is a really good card.
Herc or
Saber? Yeah,
Herc Ace.
Tyrant can use that beautifully.
It's okay.
I think it's a good card. Yes. It's just not an NSP
for Tyrant, but it's not a good NSP card. So I'm gonna share my screen here because we're gonna bring up these cards here so that the audience that are watching knows what we're talking about. So first off, so here's our line here. We got Tento, our searcher. We've got a Kabuterimon on play when Digivolving suspended Digimon plus 2k. A Mega Kabuterimon that has Fortitude, which is somewhat weird in NSP. All turns while it's suspended gets 3k DP. A great inheritable. It's fantastic. I love that. When this Digimon deletes your opponent's Digimon battle, trash top security. Super awesome. And then Herc. So Herc is on play when Digivolving, suspend up to 3. For each Digimon that this affects suspended, gain a memory. And then when this Digimon suspends until the end of your opponent's turn, it gains piercing and 3k DP. It's just not good for NSP. So, all right, let's bring up all of our NSP cards, all of our Nature Spirits cards. So, like I said, the best card in the deck is Eldraudimon, and if you take a look on here, you see a bunch of different color cards, majority of which are generally speaking green. But your main line that you want to see, because trust me when I tell you, Reboot is kind of important. Toromon is okay. You'll probably mainly play this for Reboot and you have blocker on body. But this Jagamon, giving all of your NSP trait blocker.
I'm sorry, this whatamon?
Jagamon. No, I'm kidding. Those 4 cards are not searchable outside of your Tentomon search because you can't get away with playing any sort of boost. There's no good dual color boost that you can play. You can't say, let me play a green boost because you're going to bottom deck all your Eldraudimons, which you do play this card at 4. Don't be mistaken. You need this card at 4. And just in general, I mean, your Nature Spirits is green, right? And so that's why you would play like a heavy green base. So you don't really want to bottom deck that. And so in talking about that, let's talk about the equivalent one in Nightmare Soldiers, right? Oh, I guess I have to actually type out NSO. Wow, what a world. So here's all your NSO cards. Myotismon is your key piece here, and he's purple. Piedmon is purple. Basically, your entire line is purple, which is already good because you don't necessarily need to play the Tapir Ape. You'll want to play Pumpkin, but it's yellow-purple.
Stop.
No.
You need Apemon.
No. You just hear me out for now.
Oh, God.
You don't necessarily need to play those. You definitely play your Pumpkinmon because it's yellow-purple. And
he's not even the one that's needed.
Can you hush up? Hush up, boy. Hush up. What I'm trying to key in on is the fact that
I forgot you were going on a rant. Go ahead.
What I'm trying to key in on is the fact that you have a purple rookie and you have an entire purple line here, plus a Callusmon that is green-purple. The Boltmon, oh, that's the promo that's coming out. Your Nightmare Soldiers is purple. And then you have these other pieces that aren't really crucial to your game plan that you don't really need to search out. So you can get away with playing your Wisdom Training, your Memory Boost. Generally, it would be Wisdom Training because you want to search out your Nightmare Soldiers, giving all your things Scapegoat and also having a really good security effect. But the other important thing is that you have access to good purple generic rookies. You can play the Gabumon, starter deck Gabumon. Of course, you can play Ukomon, but you could play that in any deck. But you have other good purple things that you can play. Psychmon, Gazimon. You can play Tapir, or not Tapir, sorry, Bascomon. I get that's generally most of the purple rookies that I see nowadays outside of like a Gobbly Ogremon package. So you can be more consistent with Nightmare Soldiers because you can forego playing some of the things in this line for playing some more consistency pieces that help you draw and get further into the deck. And likewise, for Deep Savers, can I actually type this one out? Deep Savers, yes I can. Likewise, for Deep Savers, you have 2 blue rookies. You have a Crabmon and Goma. You've got 2 level 4s, 2 5s, 2 6s, right? The only thing that's outside of your line here is purple in your Siako, your Gesso. And even that being said, your Siakomon, you have a Siako X that's purple-blue, even though it digivolves 1 on top of a level 2.
Egg.
Yeah, there you go. Thank you. A blue-purple egg. It's still, you can still play it. You also have a Gessomon X that digivolves on top of blue-purple, right? So you can kind of bridge the gap easier with those cards. Meaning that because your egg is blue, you can also get away with playing Mental Training, Blue Memory Boost, and other things that search out the blue parts of this deck, which is everything. It's your key parts of the deck. You don't care about searching out Marina and Jamon. You can even search out the new promo that we're getting in the... Yeah, how the fuck do you pronounce this? Regalicusmon?
Yo, that card is cracked.
Yeah, I mean, it's a really good card. And let's not even talk about that just yet, because there's other stuff that we have to talk about. But like Pukumon here, I don't even know when the hell this is coming out. But like all of this stuff, sure, you can't search out the Cielomon, but you don't care because you can search out your main line. And that's what's most important in a game plan, searching out and building up your main line. So Nature Spirits really is out here just suffering from being the first of its kind because it's got a line in every color. Everything is kind of important because there's nothing that's like not important, right? This Gekomon is one of the best cards in the deck in my opinion. On play when digivolving is a draw 1. So it's just a +1 or it replaces itself when you digivolve and jamming as an inheritable. So that you have, you don't need to play Piximon, cute card. You probably want to play this Triceramon. So there's your green line, but then you also have this this Mega Kabuteria that's, like I said earlier, weird because it has Fortitude. So like you can take some big swings with this, which is nice. But then like when Eldradimon plays this out, what does Fortitude do? Absolutely nothing. There's no way to put sources under. So that's just weird for it to have. And then your Slalakmon, sure, when it sits on board, it's just sitting on board as basically a Digimon wipe, right? Because generally, 2 Digimon on board, neg 14k, that's getting rid of most Digimon in the game. But that's it. That's like all it's doing. And it's honestly easy for your opponent to deal with your board. Like, especially, I was playing against Jarrell yesterday. He was playing Medieval Gallantmon. Let me just tell you, like, if he had a little bit more knowledge of his effects, and also me, because I forgot that it's just when a Digimon is played, not, you know, when he plays a Digimon or when a Digimon's played by effect, that match should have been like over. So it's just like, what does this deck do? It'd be cool if it was like, oh, like I want to play this deck and like this is like an aggro deck, like an aggro board swarm deck, but it's not even that. It's weird. It doesn't really have a game plan. Good.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just a bad deck.
Right. So like that's what I'm getting at. It's just a okay deck. It's fun, right? It's fun. I had fun playing it, but like the reason that like I went into this rabbit hole is because I'm sitting here and I'm thinking about how I would like how's my future with this deck? Because I sold off a lot of cards recently. A lot of cards. And I'm trying not to keep things that I'm not going to play because that is just too much money to be sitting in a binder. And so I'm looking at this deck that I sat here and I bought all these color borders for and I got all the alts for, and I'm like, where am I going with this deck? I stopped sharing my screen, and I'm sorry, Lucas, I'm gonna have to share my screen again because I forgot there's a card that's very important to my thoughts here. This Magnadramon is ass. We got a promo for this deck, and this card is complete and utter doggy doo-doo. Do you know, and here's why it's doggy doo-doo. Because when this card would be played, you reduce the cost. It would be cool if Eldradimon could drop the Magnadramon, but you can't because Eldradimon only drops play cost 7 worth of things. This does not reduce the play cost until it would be played. So you can't even be like, oh, I get to reduce the play cost and play this off of Eldrarimon, then I can do some shenanigans with Tlalakmon. No, you don't. Which means your Tlalakmon, more often than not, is built on the backing of a level 6 and an ace card, meaning that it's a very fragile boss monster with no protection. So it's like, that just makes it even worse. This effect on play, cool. You know, neg 5k and then pop 5k or less. I like that. If Eldrarimon could play this, that would be phenomenal. But it can't. And that's ass. Complete and utter doggy doo-doo. Now I'll stop sharing my screen. So that's why, like, I don't like Nature Spirits anymore. I'm like, it was cute. I got to play it. It just doesn't do enough. The strategy it suffers from being the first strategy created. Nightmare Soldiers and Deep Savers are much better set up to do things. And yeah, like I said, I did win locals with it, but it didn't really feel like a convincing win because I almost got molly-whopped by Zafaga and Medieval. It wasn't really Zafaga, it was just Medieval. And if Dan had seen his pieces more, I don't know what this deck would have done to overcome that. So
I think it's just one of those. I don't know. You remember? I think a few podcasts ago I was talking about how I don't think that it might have even been last podcast. We haven't been so consistent lately, but I said that Bandai doesn't really make bad decks anymore or bad cards, but sometimes the decks feel bad because they aren't doing the most broken shit in the game, right? I think that that's just where Nature Spirits is. I don't think it's really necessarily like a bad deck, or it just doesn't have the ability to really break the game with the meta decks, right?
absolutely.
So it just doesn't feel good to play. It's a fun deck. Like if you want to play it on the sim, like if you want to play it with friends, if you want to play it at locals, like Varney did. But I think that that's probably where you're not enjoying it as much because sometimes it is fun to just do the broken stuff in the game, right? Like it is fun to just be like I saw my pieces and I'm about to slap everyone's dick right off. Like fuck it, I'm excited right now.
I think about like I want to take this deck potentially into a regionals because if I like it, I might want to play it in a regionals. There is no way in hell I would ever consider playing Nature Spirits in a regionals.
Yeah. I don't think it's not there. I mean, what do you think, right? What do you think would take this deck over the top?
It's funny that you ask that because I sat here for the longest time on that video that I recorded. And I was like, what does this deck need? And I couldn't come up with an answer. It's just not there. Your boss monster in Tlalakmon, it's cute. But that's it. You look at Aegistramon. Aegistramon is badass. Aegistramon is a 15k beat stick that says on your turn, your shit's unaffected. On your opponent, well, relatively speaking, right? Because it says while you have one or more memory, your turn, your shit's unaffected by opponent's Digimon effects. While you have one or less memory on your opponent's turn, none of your opponent's Digimon can activate on-play effects. That's cool. Like it's not
strong effect right there.
It's not like busted, but it's something that can play really well into the meta. And Tlaloc is just sitting there saying, hey, next turn, I get to do neg 21k again. That's it. That's it.
Yeah.
Like, I can play any deck, and I can clear a Digimon, relatively speaking, in any deck. Aegistramon bottom deck's 14 play cost worth of shit. I don't know. I don't have an answer. I'm curious to hear from the audience your experiences on Nature Spirits. Let me know what you think that the deck needs to really like push it into the next echelon. Because I have no clue. I couldn't.
And Bull Balta out here is just de-digivolving things that just negging the whole board. And on top of that, you can just trash security whenever you want.
Right. It's cool. Both turns, right? Like,
yeah, both all turns.
You swing,
trash
and then
security.
Let's say you have like a blocker.
Oh, your own Digimon died?
Something.
Well, you just kind of, effed yourself up because now you're trashing security too.
Right, exactly. So it's just it's like Lilithmon. It's why I like Lilithmon.
Yeah.
Because it's got that sort of versatility that, on your opponent's turn, I think it's when your opponent's when other Digimon are deleted. Yeah, you get to trash security. So it's a cool strat. Like, It's like a Bolt Bout just gets to sit there and kind of like command his minions and throw them at security. Oh,
But
they
also,
died.
like,
Trash your security.
I think also like the 6s don't do much. Like you mentioned before, like Saber Lord doesn't do much and Herc doesn't do much. Like if you have them chilling on board, they don't do anything for you. I feel like at least at NSO at the moment, because I haven't gotten a chance to get my hands fully on Deep Sabers, but I kind of got the gist of what they do. Piedmon is like all turns as well. Like when something's deleted, I'm playing bodies,
Oh,
so
yeah.
I'm always gonna have free bodies.
I learned
Besides,
that.
like
I was like, what are you doing?
besides besides my own, like besides his own blast evo and digivolving effect of neg 2k 4 times on something, so basically you can neg up to 8k on one thing, or like spread it out, kill a bunch of bodies. He has all turns play another body out that's level 4 or lower, I think it is NSO. I don't remember exactly the range.
Yeah, that's it.
So it's like your opponent does something and cool, they died themselves, or I'm gonna play another body. So now like when your turn comes back around, you're potentially set up for your own like DNA plays as well, and you can just pop off, which is pretty cool. That happened to me like I think like round 2 or 3, whenever. How many rounds we had? 3 or 4?
Three.
So from my round 2, that's what happened, because his what's his name? What's that deck called? Central. Kills his own bodies for overclock. All right, cool. Piedmon effect. I'm gonna play my own body. I'm gonna play another body, and now I'm prepared to pop off next turn. Which was
But that's
cool.
like the other thing too. Like, I hate that
And then
thought
also-
is based on two level 6s, one of which is always an ace, because you don't have access to another one that's not an ace. And when we do get access to it, it's hard to get 2 normal ass bodies on board to pull off that DNA play. But you as nature or nightmare soldiers, you've got Calismon, Skull Mammoth. You're gonna get the Boltmon, and Calismon is really good for the deck.
I was about to mention like Calismon. Like people were sleeping on it, because I know we were joking about it. Oh, I pulled a Calismon SR or like AA. Like obviously,
Right.
value wise, it's dog shit. But like effect wise, in today's game, just remove a tamer, just bottom deck any tamer you want. Fantastic, in my opinion. On top of it, also being able to gain, plus 1k DP for every color, and then second attack +1 and piercing. That's pretty. That hits pretty hard. Like I had a Skull Marimon underneath a Calismon one time, and I swung like 3 checks piercing at like 17. You know what I'm saying? Like that's pretty strong to do.
Or
like
my
all right.
Yotismon, you
I don't
get
have
4
Bolt
checks to
Bauta.
unsuspend.
yeah, I don't have Bolt Bauta. I didn't have the DNA Bolt Bauta play, but shit, I got a Calismon that's doing heavy damage for me.
Exactly.
Which is pretty cool.
You've got plays that isn't just let me get into my big bad level 7.
Correct.
Like, your level 7 is still a good play, but if you can't pull it off, okay, I'm just gonna fucking poke the shit out of you at Calismon until I win the game. And like Nature Spirits, even though that field option gives Alliance,
Yeah.
which you're risking so much still by
You need to
taking
do the
lower
perfect
level
combo
swings.
to do that
Right.
heavy high highs. I know Cliff mentioned like you go into the Eldrazi swing Alliance, then you DNA, and then you unsuspend, not suspend DNA, you unsuspend, and then swing 2 checks again or whatever.
But that encourages you to play the Modimon egg, and the Modimon egg is cute, but like then you give up on the draw power from Wanyamon, and that deck doesn't have any search. Well, sorry, one
Right.
search, but you're just relying on sheer draw power to get into pieces. So, like, again, it's just it's just not there. And nature, I keep saying fucking nature, Nightmare Soldiers. It just seems so much better, so much more cohesive a strategy.
I think same thing with Deep Savers. Again, we haven't played it
Especially-
ourselves just yet, but like the idea of what it has and like how you can pop off with it, I think is really, really strong, and just the control aspect it has as well. Being able to just be like, no, you know what I'm saying, on certain effects, which is pretty cool.
Right.
Or you're unaffected with like Metal Siege Ace, I think is like unaffected while you have more than more memory, I think it is. The Metal Siege Ace. On top of him being able to,
None of your opponent's Digimon can suspend.
That's what it is. My fault.
But
I knew
as
somebody
an
was
ace
unaffected.
card, it's insane. Because it's
Digivolve.
one body removal for the most part.
Yeah.
Digivolve, and then bottom deck a play cost 7 or lower. A lot of level 5s are play cost 7 or lower. Saber Leomon, the reason I hate that card is because it's a neg 8 on 2 suspended, which is okay, it's whatever. And it gets to unsuspend, but unless you have the Jagamon in play, you don't have blocker. So now you've got this inheritable with a Saber Leomon that is set up to do some really cool things, block a lower level or a lower DP thing, trash security, except, oops, I didn't have Jagamon on field, so I have no blocker. And I just aced you, and I hope you die to security. like, it's just... And that's why Herc is bad for the deck, because Herc doesn't gain memory for each body suspended. It gains memory for each body it's suspended. It has no redirect, because it doesn't have blocker. So it's like, I suspend other bodies and I get to gain 1 or 2 memory, but I'm probably not passing turn because my opponent sequenced their stuff in the way that they should have. And so, yeah, cool. Woo, you know? Fun.
He said, woo.
So, the TLDR, that's my rant on why I just... Nature Spirit's fun, but it's the first, which is unfortunate. So... Deep Sabers and Nightmare Soldiers are definitely better set up. It does make me excited for future field decks though, because obviously, you know, each time they do this, they're learning, and so they take that into their next level, their next set of design. So what other fields do we have, Dan? I know there's Draconic. What is the Dragon Empire
War
called? Is it actually called Draconic War?
Something like that.
And then Metal Empire.
Metal Empire. There's also
oh, we got a ton of them. Here we go. We got Wind Guardians, Metal Empire, Dark Area, Virus Busters, Dragon's Roar.
I was thinking of Virus Busters.
D-Reaper Zone. That's cute.
Mm-hmm.
So, just
the cool thing,
other things to explore.
The cool thing about the families is that these decks can go be very versatile, and they can really just throw anything together and it can work, just because a lot of them are in those archetypes or families already. So like if you click on, you know, Nightmare Soldiers, there's way more Digimon that are Nightmare Soldiers than what, you know, the card game has currently. So these families have like infinite amount of support, I think, where like if they ever feel like just dropping support for these decks, they can, and it'll just be fine and it'll work out perfectly fine, which is pretty cool.
And that's what we see like in the promos, because at this point I think each family has already gotten 2 promos of support, and it's just easy to just
NSO has 3 out now.
Okay, so at
because
least
they got because NSO got Dokugomon, they got the Pukomon, and then they got Boltmon. Nature Spirits has, I guess, the Wanyamon Egg and Magnadramon, and then Deep Sabers got the Regulusmon, and then maybe they might have got Pukumon.
And the Pukumon, yeah, Puku and the Regalicusmon.
Wait, Puku was for
so Puku
and
was a promo. Regalicusmon is in this new LM set that's coming out, and they have Cielamon,
and then Koalamon,
Koalamon. So it's cool. Because, they're just like, here's a new Deep Sabers card. Here's a new Metal Empire card. Here's a new Dragon's Roar card. And you just keep a deck eternally alive like that. I mean, just like any deck would, but it just feels cool with these families because there's still so many Digimon in those families that aren't created or aren't in those families. Like, I know Dan is upset that Piedmon Ace isn't a Dark Master.
That was criminal. That was straight up criminal. They did that to Metal Siegmon too. Those are both criminal. Like Metal Siegmon Ace and Piedmon not Ace not being Dark Masters as well. It was criminal.
Like I mean, I'd agree with you because I wouldn't even say that you need to like give it something that works in Dark Masters. Like I think just the trait is enough because it's just extra things.
It could have the same effect it has right now. Just having Dark Masters matter for APOC, just to be able to have another way of getting another type of Piedmon underneath it.
what is that Digimon? Is it Golfmon that also works off of Dark Masters?
Correct. Yeah. And
Replacing one level
Mephisto.
5 with Dark Masters and Text, delete. And then by returning 7 from your opponent's trash, the bottom deck unsuspend. Yeah, that's cute. And the Mephistomon.
Again,
So, yeah.
the problem with the newer Mephisto and Golfmon, they made those cards with APOC at 4 in mind. They didn't make it with a 1 of APOC because they wouldn't have made those cards. Ain't no way you made them thinking that APOC is at 1.
Right, for sure. So I mean, I'd agree with you on that sentiment. But I'm curious to hear your thoughts on Nightmare Soldiers since you played that.
Yeah, I had to create a bare bones like basic version, like no anything extra, just because we got the boxes and then like
And then we all went into build mode real quick.
We were like, all right, fuck it, let's just build. And then you had like 3 other people who were playing like actual competitive decks. I'm just like, bruh, like we out here like, you know, bare bone versions of these decks. So like Varney, I mean, he brought the Nature Spirits. I think he had an idea of possibly playing it, but in my opinion, it's still bare bones because you can add a couple things here and there to make it better. Whether
that shit together out the binder.
Whether he thinks it makes it better or not, that's neither here nor there. But I know you can't, because I played it on the sim a lot already prior to the new support. And the same with Nightmare Soldiers. I just bare bones it. Didn't add anything that would add consistency or anything like that. So like, I'm out here playing like 4 of everything basically outside of Skull Mammothmon and like Mammothmon and them. I think those are probably like the worst cards for the deck. Good effects, but it's just like the way the deck works, they're too slow in my opinion. Yeah. And so I even played because I got my hands on 2 of the promo, the Kugumons, which they ain't bad. The best thing about it is being another named champion, another champion level NSO. 3 costs.
Got so many good
to play.
Well,
yeah, but to play,
so
you need another name off of Myotosmon to play a 3 cost. That's a champion level Digimon. So having
Myotos only plays a 3 cost or lower.
Correct. So you can't play Devimon, which is a 5 cost.
Travesty.
And so, I think the deck has the chance to be a solid contender in the format eventually, depending on like how you build it. I know I already had thoughts on how I'm gonna make the deck better. Examples of like Ukomon's, Purple Mad, the one that lets you trash, that gains a memory when you trash, stuff like that. And then you're able, I'm gonna change from being 3 colors to 2, which is purple yellow mainly. Outside, I'll probably still throw like the 1 or 2 of the Kugumon in it. Besides that, and like, you know, other things like Calismon is technically green, but like it's purple. You know what I'm saying? Because you keep the consistency of it being purple and yellow, and then you can add things that might be nice. Like you can add things like possibly any like the Angelomon stuff that had like the rookies or champions that have the end of turn DNA.
Yeah,
I think that's something that could potentially be a thing, because Myotosmon is the only way you DNA, and if you don't have Myotosmon, you can't DNA really, because you could passing turn a lot. And so that thought process is, even if you drop the Piedmon and you have another level 6 on board or something, you can still DNA, because Bolt Balato lets you DNA with 2 level 6s as well, as long as you meet the color requirement, besides just Pied and Myotosmon. So like, you do different things. I think you add more consistency with trainings, or what's the yellow purple boost? Is that Hysteria?
I don't
Hysteria,
remember.
Something like that. The yellow purple mem boost. I think that's something that could be played around.
Amber.
That's something that could be played around with potentially. You know, there's different things. I heard about a Cerberus package instead, which could be something that's good. But I heard it's all right, but because like the way NSO works, and then like the Cerb package, like I think that clashes a tad bit. Don't quote me on that because I don't know. I'm just thinking off like top of the head. But I think the deck has things that you can like work with to make it competitive and like you know, potentially top of the regional or something. I don't know about winning one, but I think it's something you could mess with for sure. And I think same thing with Deep Savers as well, just because Deep Savers has so much fish stuff in general that you could just throw in generic fish support as well, and that would work, I think.
Crazy how much they have access to.
For sure. So yeah, I mean, I played round 1. What did I play against? Oh, Paramediamon. Gino was testing that out. I was learning on the fly on how to pop off, like what's the best combos, learning like Polymon's all turns, being able to play bodies. Sometimes you just kind of swarm the deck a little bit, just like NSP a little bit with that swarming aspect. That kind of happens sometimes with NSO, just because there's so many effects of ways of like, all right, I can play a body from trash for free. I can play a body from hand for free or something like that. Especially with the family option and security. That card is goated in security. Besides obviously being face-up security and giving effects, being able to play a level 5 or lower from your hand is crazy, because you play Myotismon, you can DNA if you have Piedmon already on board and like pop off on your opponent's turn. Kind of crack. What else I played? Centralmon, like I mentioned earlier, 1 down 2-0 as well. Again, I just outpaced him with all the bodies on board and just got into huge DNA plays that continued with the board swarming. He had a point where he hit like double Nightmare Soldiers and security, so I was able to play bodies and way more bodies and get my Elosma on board for cheap, because I had an issue. The deck has issues with getting to there, I feel like, because especially if you don't play no tamers, that's why I think you need a memory tamer in that deck. It's hard to work with that deck with like one memory.
Good memory tamer you can play too. The best memory tamer for Nature Spirits is Davis, which doesn't.
I know, but that's a search. I know, obviously, but I mean,
you
potentially get the two. You potentially get 2 cards. That's all, you know. What else? Yeah. So the deck struggles with no memory. When you're being choked at like 1 or 2, you kind of can't do much really, unless you already have Myotismon and then you hard drop a Piedmon for 7, which feels bad, but at the same time doesn't, because you're probably board clearing. Again, just depends on what deck you're playing against. And then finals, I played against Varney, and he ended up winning. I feel like even if I had pieces, we played after. It feels like NSP just kind of like hard counters NSO a little bit, just in general, just the way the decks work.
Yeah, because
so,
DP reduction.
Yeah,
is just, you know,
because I don't gain no. There was a reason with the DP reduction. What was it? There was something with it that I was like, oh wait,
the fact that he does fucking like 35k or some shit.
Maybe that's what it was. Oh, that's what it was. Scapegoat. You can't do anything with Scapegoat if you're getting negged to death. So that's what it is, because Nature Spirit option gives everything level 5 or higher a Scapegoat, or level 4 or higher Scapegoat. So like, yeah, you can Scapegoat and kill something and maybe that'll help, but like you're dying regardless just because game mechanics. So it doesn't even matter.
Now, when you have something like your Boltmon, you know, then that becomes different, because you have to be smart about targeting, who you're targeting, where you're targeting.
Right.
Also, let's talk about how bad we talked about how bad Tentomon search is, but we didn't touch on how bad Demi-Devi search is.
Oh man, yeah. It searches, you know, obviously NSO and Fallen Angel for some reason. Mind you, the only Fallen Angel in that deck is Devimon. So that's where the thought process maybe you can play like Fallen Angel stuff in the deck, but like I don't know how cohesive that is. Fallen Angel stuff will be like Lady Devimon, Neo Devimon, I believe. Not sure what else at the moment, but like I just to give that consistency of that search, maybe it will work. But like Myotismon is undead. Paimon is a wizard. Yep. Why are we only searching Fallen Angels? Like, I would have been cool if they would have said NSO and what's it called? Undead, because Myotismon is undead. That's the most important card in your deck. At least the Gomon for Deep Savers, he searches Sea Beast. He searches Sea Beast and plus Yosor. So you can get multiple searches off of that kind of more consistently than you can for Tentomon and Demi-Devimon as well. At least in nature spirits, you have a whole line of insectoids, so it doesn't feel as bad when you go to that search. It's like, all right, you could get the Coppetary, you could also get another Tento technically, you can get Mega Coppetary and Herc, so it's not bad. It's 4 cards you can search.
Bad cards, not
sure.
That those cards are bad, but like.
But at least you can if you decide
say it
to.
with your chest. It makes you play bad cards. Say
I would have just loved if they were just top 4 search for 2 archetype cards. Like, realistically, they're not going to give us another searcher. So a top 4 for 2 Deep Savers, for 2 Nightmare Soldiers, for 2 Nature Spirits. I think that would have been by far better than 1 Nightmare Soldier and a Fallen Angel. Oops. That's just Devimon. You might as well just put search top 3 for 1 Nightmare Soldiers and 1 Devimon. So like,
yeah, right.
Yeah.
So like then that gives the thought process, like, do you play the other Devimons as well? Some of them are good, but some of them are bad. So it's like, where's the line of NSO champions and Devimons as well when you think about it?
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, just that's why I thought this was an important topic for us to cover, because these are such a new type of deck, and Bandai's still learning the where they can go with design and everything. And there's some really cool ideas, but there's also some things that like really need to be improved upon there. So that's locals. Mike is still without because
my locals is DCGO right now.
Hey, speaking of locals, you guys are going to see this later, but I'll use this platform to announce that the Tamers Battle League is starting back up this week. That you guys should be seeing this podcast. So we are going to have 2 fucking podcasts. Holy shit, 2 TBLs per week. 1 on Wednesday, 1 on Friday. Wednesday will be the premiere DGU stream starring Dan and myself on commentary. Friday, we will be bringing in guest commentators. We already have our guest commentators picked out. We'll be rotating through a couple of members from our Discord. This Friday, we'll be starting with Dan, and shout out to Brito. Y'all should know Brito. That's the Beelzebaron, the multi-time Digimon topper. I know he won maybe not last.
He won the last in-person regional.
Yes, the last in-person
in
regional
Texas
with
7 Great Demon Lords.
Demon Lords, there we go. So if you guys want to tune in for fun commentary and a great time, you can definitely do that. If you want to play every Wednesday and Friday night at 7 p.m., we'll be going for approximately 3 months nonstop. That's going to be something. So thus we start back up the grind. So fun times to be had. We are supported by booster box pricing, or booster pack pricing, I should say. So I believe
Mike, you should sign up and play.
Yeah, there you go, Mike. You got locals now. You get booster packs for playing.
Woo! might have to at this point, guys. I don't fucking know.
But yeah, every Wednesday and Friday, fun time. Come on and play. Enjoy some fun commentary. Moving on, I guess let's get to the meat of the podcast, the thing that everybody wants to hear about. Unfortunately for you, Dan, how was Nationals?
Man, I got sick. I got food poisoning Friday night.
Well,
unfortunately,
I would like to say, who picked that meal?
Yeah, I picked it, obviously.
Hey, it did taste good, though, didn't it?
It was delicious. It was delicious.
I want you guys to know, I actually went back. I went this weekend. We went to IKEA, but I drove an hour and a half, and there was a Bahama Breeze next to the IKEA, and we went there for Gabby's birthday.
Hey, it was good as hell, I'm sure. It was fantastic.
That pork was phenomenal.
The clam. It was the clams. I'm telling you, it was the clams that got me.
It was those mussels. I was like,
yeah,
from the moment like, you got sick,
was.
I was like, damn, it must have been those fucking mussels, bro.
Yeah.
So all it takes is like one mistake in cooking them.
Yeah. And so, and then Saturday I was still sick. I wasn't too bad, like in the sense of like I couldn't play. Like I was playable. I played 6 rounds. Unfortunately, it just went terrible after the first round. I played against Dark Knight first round, 1-2-0. Then I played against Mirage, I think it was immediately second round. I ended up losing, unfortunately. I'm not gonna go into details of them at the moment, but also
Call
that
him out. Call him out.
Taki, no, I'm already over it. I'm already over. I don't feel like delving into it at the moment. Round 3, lost to the Taki player. Turn 2 Taki, you can't do anything about it. Round 3, 4, I played Imperial. I won that 2-0 pretty swiftly. Then I played against another Mirage player, lost that one as well. Almost went. I think I went to time in that one. Just things happened. And then round 6, I played against a Yellow Vaccine Armors player. I ended up losing that 2-1. At that point, I was so like heated at myself. I was just so mad about how the tournament went. I ended up just dropping. I didn't like stay for prizing, because if I was X3, I would have tried to stay and get top 64, because I think X3 you have a chance as top 64. And so once that dream died at that point, it was over for me. So I was like, yeah, I'm not in the right mind space anymore to continue playing. I was so like mad. It didn't help. I was sick as well, and then I just stayed kind of sick for the rest of the weekend, as like these guys know. Like I was just like, man, I would eat something and I was still nauseous. I would enjoy good food and then be like, I'm about to throw this up all afterwards. You know what I'm saying? That's how I felt throughout the whole weekend.
Yeah, we ate some Rager food. Like that food.
Oh man, we had fantastic. I don't think any spot we went to missed.
The golden.
Oh, I forgot about that part. Was like I immediately forgot. That's how bad it was. That was the only time we had bad food, was when we went to Golden Corral. But like everywhere else we went to was A1 food. And most times like the service was great as well. I know like that matters when you go to restaurants, like the service. And I think for the most part we had really good service and food was fantastic. I just couldn't like enjoy it the way I'm used to enjoying good food. So that was like depressing as well.
Yeah. Mike and we had a fun time. I had to deal with Mike's pessimistic ass.
He did.
For approximately like 6 hours.
That's
a long time
to
deal with a pessimistic.
It was less.
So all right, let's put it in perspective. So we arrived at, Dan, what time you had to be there for? Like 9, right? So that means we got there around like 8:30.
8:30.
We had to stand. All right, you know what? Actually, now that I'm getting to this, I actually get to go on the rant, and then I'll let Mike get on his rant, because I know he has one. I have to look at the camera for this. I play TCG. I have words for you. I tried posting this while I was there, and because it was just so congested, I couldn't post the video. In the sake of foregoing any potential future Play TCG collaboration and Bandai sponsorship, I'll be completely open and candid. I guess let me lead with this. Let's look at some of the positives. I really did enjoy this event over last year's event. You can tell there was definitely a step up in quality. There was a big step up in quality. They did a lot of things great. But Play TCG, holy fucking shit, do you need to do a better job? Like, I feel like there's no excuse. Let's look at the first problem. If you arrive on the day prior to the event, and competitors are allowed to check in early and pick up their competitor badging, why are spectators also not allowed to pick up their spectator badges and their stuff? And let's say, for whatever God-given reason, that's not a thing you can allow. That's fine. Why? Mike, how many was there? There was 4 people, right? It was 2 booths.
I have a picture. 1 second. I took a picture because I couldn't believe it.
Why in God's green earth world, whatever, are there 2 booths with 2 people each? 4 people.
Yeah, it's 2 booths with 2 people each.
Handling the spectator line, and I don't even know if we can put it in perspective how long this line was, Mike. because we
I
have to
think
illustrate the picture of the place.
Genuinely, I think it was half a mile. I'm not even like that's not me exaggerating either.
No.
Like I actually think it might have been close to like a half mile long. Like
if you guys
was
were there and you know the
huge.
convention center and you weren't in that line, it was so you walk. Fuck, it's so irritating. So you know the part. Hold on, let me think if I could put it into a football field term.
No, I maybe half mile's too much. At least a quarter mile. It was at least as long as any drag strip I've ever been to.
No, because like one room, like the one room
so
was
big.
the size of a football field.
It was so
like
big.
lengthwise, right? And so let's
Yeah.
see how long a football field is. A football field is 120 yards. So
A quarter mile's 1,320 feet.
how much? 1,320 feet?
1,320.
1320. That's a quarter mile. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, that mile was definitely like a quarter mile long, because each room I would say was approximately a little bit longer than the length of a football field, and we were in the lobby, walked through doors into another room, walked through doors into another room where there was the booths. No, I lied. We were actually further back. We were by the elevators, and then we walked into the lobby, and then we walked into another room, and then we finally hit the room. All right, no exaggeration. It was definitely at least a quarter mile, and I wouldn't be surprised if that mile was a half mile long. It was the convention center was so fucking large. Dan and I got dropped off at the wrong end, and we walked for what, Dan? I think we walked for like
Man, it felt like
15 minutes.
forever. Yeah, it was a solid. It was definitely a solid
20 minute walk to get
15,
from
20 minutes.
where we were dropped
Yep.
off, which many people were, to the opposite end, which is where the convention was. So that line was somewhere between a quarter mile to a half mile long, and we arrived there at 8:30. We didn't get in until 10:30, Mike.
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah, 10:30 sounds about right. That was
Now I know the doors didn't open until I think like 10, but like
it might have been
was-
closer to 11. Honestly, I remember the doors didn't open until closer to 10. But so, it was just a mess. Because after you got the spectator badges, which took the longest part, then you had to get back in another line to go through
Yeah.
security.
Oh my lord. Oh my lord. That was annoying.
And again, I don't know if it could just be solved because they weren't expecting so many. Well, how could they not be expecting so
No,
many
but
people? Because
you
you
had to
have
fucking
you have
pre-register.
Yeah, you had to pre-register on your phone, so they had to have like an idea of how many people were going to show up, and maybe they didn't have the staffing because it was free to get in. Like you didn't pay to get in, but still.
In which case, no, because those guys, I think they were either in front or behind us. They were like at Dallas. Now, granted, Dallas was a smaller scale event, but it was still a card game fest. People were able to pick up their badges on the day before, and I think you had to pay for the badges, if I'm not mistaken. Listen, for what the event was, I don't mind paying $30 to get into the event. Okay, like straight up. They definitely could charge for the event. So if that was an issue, please charge for the badges, because I fucking abhorred having to stand in that line with all of my cards and shit for an hour. It was so bad when we arrived. We
It
were
was so
walking
bad.
down the line. People were just playing games because they weren't even giving out the spectator badges until probably 9 o'clock.
And mind you, we got there at 8:30, so we got there pretty early, all things considered. And when we got there, I was like, "Damn, this is long as fuck."
Mhm.
Like, I can't believe how far back we are. By the time we had the line started moving, I looked back and it was like 2 rooms deeper. Like I
Yep.
was like, "There's no way."
Like, and so that is something I very heavily blame PlayTCG for. And so if like anybody from PlayTCG is watching this or they catch wind of this, like just know you need to, because you're Bandai's main TO. You are the face of Bandai card games.
I have a video
In
of
America.
once we got to the front of the spectators lounge, it doesn't really like you can't even show because those doors right there where you think the line ends, there's
There's
more
more.
doors like that where there's people
Yeah.
waiting. So you think the line ends there? No, there's 4 more rooms like that.
It's just there has to be a better way. Like I said, I don't care if we have to pay $30 entry to accommodate for this.
What was really wild is once we got in, it wasn't even crowded. I was
No,
like actually
it was pretty well.
I was
pretty
like
good.
actually pretty surprised. Like I mean, it was a very open area, but I would have thought there would be more people like in it. Like you really like from
Well, I
that
think
line.
there was
to once
a
you
lot
get
of
in.
people, but like because
Yeah.
everything was so well spread out, like because you could see like a lot of people buy the retail and a lot
Well,
of people buy
That's
in
my
the side
other
event
issue I want
lines.
to talk about. Okay.
Yeah, so
So-
we'll get there, but
So if we're talking like let's go back to charging entry for me to get into this place. I would rather pay $30 for entry to get into this place for them to have actual vendors and shops and stuff. They had when you get inside the
Bandai with Toy and Hobby Expo.
like for real though, like you get in and there was so much empty space. They could have at least put fucking tables inside of the actual event, like once you get through security to play games at.
I know
was
they
like,
had what was
there was
that
like 6 tables,
10?
bro.
Yeah, at
there was like
most.
6 to 10 tables. I mean, don't get me wrong, the setups they had was cool. Like the Gundam base was fucking awesome. Like it was really cool that they had the Gundam base pop up there. I liked the other like they had the what are the anime figures called that they have there? I forget. But
I
they
don't
had
know.
like a bunch of
Figure
like
art?
cool figure arts. I think it was figure arts maybe. But they had like a bunch of cool setups that were just
Yeah, they had a bunch of cool
Bandai
different
specific
stands
only,
for
right?
every anime that they
And like that's cool.
do.
But like yo, if like let's like so I just like I got Gundam Beta cards, right? And I was like, I don't want to use my Gundam Beta sleeves. Like I want to double sleeve them and I want to make sure they're nice. Like I want to use them for resources, whatever. There's nowhere in there for me to just buy a pack of Dragon Shields. Like you can't just you telling me you couldn't rent the place out to like some vendors, like some hobby shops locally to come in and like actually set up shop there so you can buy product from them. I mean, like I understand that you want to be the one selling all of your boxes, right? Like you have
But
your
you can
vendor-
set a price floor.
like oh my god, like I just couldn't I like the fact that there's nowhere to buy anything besides the official fucking retail store, which is just boxes. And I no offense, but Bandai sleeves are fucking garbage. I'm not spending money on Bandai sleeves.
Especially for the actual competitors. We
Yeah.
found out that like if you have designed sleeves, you cannot go on stream, and if you are on stream, they will force you to switch sleeves. And if you don't have any other sleeves on you, you're SOL. Because you can't buy any sleeves unless they were giving out sleeves, which I don't think they were.
No.
Like that was like rough. So like, you know, one of our boys, Lance, he has My Hero sleeves. So what is it? What's his name? The yellow hair dude.
All Might.
All Might, that's his name. He has All Might sleeves. I think he has all his decks sleeved in All Might. But they told him like you can't go into stream because you have All Might sleeves. You have to go and switch out your whole 50
which,
card
by the way,
sleeve to a different like a
insane.
regular colored sleeve because it's not Digimon. And it has
Which
to
is
be
crazy.
Digimon official sleeves, I think they said. If I'm not
Like
mistaken.
they literally make a card game, Union Arena, where is there not My Hero cards in Union Arena right now? Am I lying about
No.
that in my head?
I don't think so.
No, they don't have
Oh,
Union
I
Arena.
thought that there was.
They don't have any
My bad.
Union because
No, not My Hero.
someone else makes a card game for My Hero as well.
Oh, that's what it is. I think yes, you're correct.
But no, I agree. It is insane that there isn't any sort of vendor like that. And so like again, I put blame on like Play TCG because these are the things that you should be thinking about. I mean, Play TCG is a fucking store. I'm almost positive. Like they host locals. Play TCG should be like, hey, we should bring and sell, even if you're not selling product. Let's say Bandai, whatever problems they have with other vendors selling product, you can set up something for sleeves to supply players with sleeves because you're gonna have employees there, so you might as well just set up a booth with the sleeves, some deck boxes because we had to go to a separate store to get deck boxes and sleeves for our Gundam shit, and selling singles for all the card games, because you're supporting all Bandai's card games, right? Sell singles there. Golly, I would love to have been able to just browse singles. Like, yeah, sure, it's extra resources, but I'm sure with the amount of foot traffic that was generated,
Dude,
and the amount of space that there was there could have been just a section for at least Play TCG to have set up a little shop.
absolutely. The only thing I can think of is that they wanted literal zero competition between any other product like deck boxes and sleeves. This is the only thing I can think of is Bandai.
But they didn't even
so
sell
full.
deck boxes,
But that's
did
what I think they're so full of themselves that they couldn't even accept that other people can make better products than them, and they were like, "You guys, like, you can't sell any of that shit." That's the only thing I can think of. Because
And
why
yeah,
would you
it's-
not allow it?
It's so insane because you would definitely think, like, from the monetary perspective, you're going to make money from them renting the space out to you, and people are going to be inclined to stay because we left simply to go somewhere else to pick shit up because we couldn't get it there. And
Yep.
a big gripe that I learned as we were fucking leaving for the weekend that there was a free play room.
Yes, literally, as we were walking out, there was a free play room that I
I
found.
literally verbally said out loud, "Where the fuck was that?" I know people looked at me and it was so infuriating because Mike and I were looking for a table for the longest time. We had finally found one, but we couldn't really play because it was this big ass round circle table. And you're telling me as we're walking out, there was literally a room dedicated to fucking free play with a ton of tables that were free and open. So how many other people didn't know? I saw people playing in the cafeteria because they also didn't know there was a fucking free play room. That's so infuriating.
Yeah, we did that on Friday.
Yeah, man, it's so infuriating. I just like, and this is why I keep saying, like, I have to put the blame on Play TCG because there was no communication for this. Like, you're sitting here as Bandai's main TO. You're the only one who can really say, like, here's what a player would want. You know what a player would want. Players want A, to buy shit, and B, places to play with the shit that they buy. Like, you created a great event for the competitors. I like that the entire competitor section was segregated off because I didn't compete, but I'm sure it made it a lot less chaotic for players who were playing in all of the national championships as well as players who were playing in side events. I think that was super smart, and that was definitely the way to go about it. There was an entire separate section that was basically the entire showroom, and I can tell you, going from Los Angeles to Orlando, that was such a big change because shit was so Digimon was right next to the stage in Los Angeles, and that shit was fucking hectic.
Yeah, I
One
bet
Piece
that
was right
annoying
next
as
to
shit.
Digimon, and so that was like its own thing. Now you have more rooms, you can spread out. Cool, great. But there was just so much more that could have been done. Things were thought of on this scale, great. But I just think with so many people sitting behind the planning seals of an event like this, these are things that need to be thought of. And the fact that they weren't, or that they were decided that it was extra and not needed, no, it's definitely needed, and it needs to be thought about for the next time.
Yeah, and again, absolutely. Like I already paid all this money to travel there, right? Like the $20 for the ticket or $30 for the ticket. If it's a budgetary thing, you know, like you need to make more money to have vendors or more whatever, then like I don't care. Like and again, also I had a great time while I was there. Like I did have a lot of fun, so I don't want people to think that this was like a totally negative experience. This is just us outlining like some of the issues we found, like or experienced. Like I had a wonderful time. It was super fun. But yeah, I mean, like I'm going there. Like this is a big event. Like I want to see all my friends that I don't get to see very often because I moved. Like I want to be able to play card games with my friends while I'm at the Bandai Card Game Fest. Like I should be able to buy product. Like I should be able to buy sleeves. I should be able to buy deck boxes. I should be able to browse singles. I should be able, you know, all these things. Like I would expect it to be, like, or even if you don't want to sell product or whatever, just have fucking vendors like an anime expo or something. How cool would it be to just like go
Right.
buy manga there or something?
I didn't know what
You know,
Toy and
anything.
Hobby Expo meant because I was like, is there like some external like vendor that they paired up with? Like that sounds like it could be cool. No. Bandai called it their own fucking toy and hobby expo.
Yeah.
And they lined up their own show, which, I mean, hey, for what it's worth, it was cool. Like, you could walk back to the figure line, you could buy One Piece figures, you could buy figures from all of Bandai stuff.
Yeah.
I'm fine with that. But
it was weird because like there was no like in the actual space there was no like toy lobby, whatever it was called. There's no like there was nothing there that was that to like significant to show that's what that was, you know?
right,
So,
exactly.
like,
It was really
which
just
was
like,
which is kind of
oh,
weird,
this
like
is
cause like
here.
we saw the signs that was like, all right, it shows, you know, Bandai Card Fest and then toy, what's it called again?
Toy and Hobby Expo.
Toy and Hobby Expo. You know, like it will show us the signs and like where it is, and they were just like, oh, Bandai Card Fest. So where exactly is this toy section?
Right,
Like, you know what I'm saying?
exactly.
Like it was kind of weird. So I'm pretty sure it was just the people you bought like the models from, right? Like
Yes.
Well, so
Right,
Gundam,
that's all it was.
Yeah, it was Gundam based,
That
the
and the
Gundam
fact-
based
yeah,
pop up,
Gundam
and
based.
then the action figures and stuff. And don't get me wrong,
yeah, the
anytime
Gundam
there's a
based
Gundam based
section
pop
was
up,
pretty cool.
that's it's fucking awesome.
Yeah, that was really
I
cool to
love
walk
those
in.
Gundam based pop ups.
And how it was so like individualized for Gundam only, and like you had everything that you wanted. I mean, I don't know like how diverse of model kits they had for Gundam there, but like it was
They
pretty
had a-
cool to see
They had
how
some
much
good shit.
they had.
They had some
Yeah.
good shit.
And so, like, on that note, like, yeah, let's talk about the positives. As a first time, that was my first time ever seeing a Gundam base, ever getting to visit one. So let's look at this from the perspective, because unfortunately I had to be there, not as a competitor, but as just a participant, as a spectator. From that lens, this was a fucking awesome event. From that lens, I got to participate in the Gundam beta, which Mike and I will talk about I guess we'll talk about the Gundam beta in the Gundam podcast. So
Yeah.
if you want to hear about that, you can shoot over there and listen. But I could participate in any other demo event that I wanted to. I could participate in any side event that I wanted to, outside of maybe One Piece, because everybody is there for One Piece. But no, even though there was still a line,
There's still
you
sign-ups
could
for
line
One
up
Piece.
and participate in a One Piece side event. I could take pictures with all of these cool different displays for the different card games. I could stand in line. I get to visit Gundam base. I get to look at these really cool Gundam models that they had on the outside, along with Gundam Assemble, which is another thing we'll talk about in the Gundam podcast. I could go build Gunpla.
Yeah, they had their own little
me and Varney,
mini
me
workshop
and
was
Varney
pretty
got
cool.
to build
Yeah.
a free Gundam model kit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a free
Yeah.
Gundam model kit. And sure, it wasn't like a fucking like even a
No.
high grade. It was like an entry.
Yeah,
it
just
Yeah, it was
just
entry
a
level
little
thing.
first grade basically. I got it right here.
But it's
I mean, free. It's cool. It's
Free.
fun.
Yeah, it's
Free.
pretty cool.
They do only give
And
you
if you-
30 minutes to build it though.
And if you enjoy, if you enjoy building models or like you want to get into it, I think it's probably like a perfect entry point to get into
Absolutely.
that stuff.
Yeah, yeah. I
Like,
do wish
also,
they
like,
gave
me
you
and
Pressured
Mike
on
more
his
time.
30 minutes.
Obviously, me and Mike have been building models for like years and years, so like it doesn't matter. But for like newbies like Barney who doesn't
Shut
build models,
I felt bad because there's this
but
guy,
in general for other people,
yeah, I felt bad because like I was just rushing through mine. Like I was just like whatever, like this is just
Right.
or whatever. And then this guy next to Varney, was like, oh, I've never done this before, and he's like, yeah, this is my first time. So I'm like giving him some advice, and they like would come over and they're like, 15 minutes left, 10 minutes left, 5 minutes left, and this guy was like, I thought this was supposed to be relaxing. And I was like, I feel so bad for this guy. It is supposed to be relaxing. I'm sorry, man.
damn.
But it was a good time. It was cool that they did have a lot of things to participate in. A lot of random like events were popping up. There's like I got to meet Team APS, which was really cool. I've been watching them since I was like 18 or something in college. Probably is when I first started watching them. So it's been a long time. So it was cool to meet them in person. They actually even interviewed me and Varney, which was really cool. So like I had a great time. But yeah, I just feel like there definitely could have just been more tables in the actual event space itself for people to sit down and chill out with their friends. I hated that I had to like if I wanted to like go to like the cafeteria area, I had to leave the main event space, go to the cafeteria area, go back in through security again afterwards. And it wasn't like the lines were up. It's it's a little bit of a hassle to like keep doing that. So I wish there was more like food vendors in the actual space. It was fine though. Trying to think of what else. Anything. I think that's really the main stuff for me. The stage area was really cool, though. Oh, we're gonna talk about the controversy though of the main announcer who said he said
Apparently it was
Pokemon.
set. Apparently it was set as a joke, but
It was supposed to be a
it
joke.
never
I think.
tides over
But it
well
it
with
fell-
Digimon audiences.
Yeah,
No, it never
was a bit of a
does.
controversy, I'd say.
So in the finals, the guy said congrats to I think the Pokemon, and then he meant to
Pokemon
say like,
Championship
and
or
he's
something
like,
like that.
then he was like, oh, whoops, I meant Digimon, and it was supposed to be a joke, but like, come on, dog.
I mean, he seemed like a pretty cool guy. He was the voice
Yeah,
of, I
he
think,
was-
like Mirio from the English dub of My Hero. So he's a nerd.
He was
like the rest of
fantastic.
us, so to
Like
say.
he was like fantastic for like the hype. At least he had like
Right, he had energy.
real enthusiasm for like the Gundam stuff, for like because he did. I think I don't know if he hosted the whole day, or it was like
yeah,
just the
basically
Gundam and
he was the event
championships.
host. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, you can tell like he loved this stuff. It's not like it was someone who they got off the street. It was like, hey, can you host this? Like we know you're popular or something, even though you know jack shit about any of this. Like he knew what Gundam was, or he knew Digimon, and he like he was just super enthusiastic about it. So like that was pretty cool to see someone like that for as a host for them.
Yeah, it's definitely so. Just on the comment real quick. Yeah, I'm almost positive it was he was poking fun at the Digimon players, saying
I think so
Food.
too. I just
Yeah, it
I don't think
was.
Digimon
like, we
players
as,
wanted
we
to
as
hear
Digimon players hate it because it's just
I'm
like
I'm pretty sure that man got fired like after that. You know what I'm saying? Like
nah, I don't think it's that
that
serious.
shit went off of death. That shit went off of death years so quick. Like it was just like
It was-
crickets.
it's literally
I saw
just-
people were commenting on the English version page.
Yeah.
and they were like, "How dare you guys?"
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
straight up. It was that bad. And it was because Digimon players, we know when people say stuff like that, generally speaking, it is coming from a place of ignorance because most times
Yeah.
people who are Pokemon fans look at Digimon as like the weird copy, which is
Yeah.
not
true.
true. So it never tides over well with us. But yeah, so he was cool. I liked him. I
was
mean,
cool.
he made it.
I liked the
entertaining
whole
to
stage
listen to.
area. I thought it was like,
Oh
I
yeah,
liked the whole
that was
stage area.
fantastic. Feedback for next year. I think it would have been super cool to sit in front of what was the commentators' lounge, essentially.
Yeah.
Because
I think they
found
should have just
myself-
brought them on the stage when there weren't events happening.
Well,
Yeah.
I
Just
think
had
that
them
was-
closer to the stage.
I think like that would be the thing, but like they had a whole production set up over there. Like they had like a jib arm with a camera and everything, like all the audio was routed and everything. I think that's fine, but I think having a seating area in front of that just would have been cool. Like it's not necessary, but if it's in the eyes of the audience, it's probably something that people are going to want to see. And I wouldn't mind watching those guys because I found myself rather peering over there to see them than looking at the screen.
Yeah. That was like a little weird.
The entire stage and presentation area was super cool, and it's why I have high hopes for the next Card Game Fest. Because from last year, I mean, there was just a sheer difference. It was cool.
Yeah.
It's nice. It's such a step up. You can tell that they're learning. I have faith in Bandai to do bigger, better, go beyond, plus ultra, so to say, on that aspect of it. Really, the only gripes that I have actually, I don't have any gripes with the Bandai side of things. It really is more of the play TCG, more of the TO, the playing side of things. I guess the gripe on Bandai side would be vendors, just like really making it's a convention, right? Like at the end of the day, that's a convention. And I think Bandai has a lot to gain
They should make it
by
more
really
that way.
embracing it as a convention.
Yeah.
Charge for the tickets, because if there was even there probably wasn't. There was probably way more than 3,000 people. But if there was 3,000 people, by $30 a ticket, that's $90,000 in free money because we didn't pay for anything. So that's $90,000 in free money. If it's a $50 ticket, because it's, of course, it's a 2-day event, Saturday and Sunday, that's fine. If it's if it's 50, that's more money. And considering 50 by 5, let's say 5,000 people, that's $250,000. That's free money to help with the running cost of the event, staffing cost, more event space, to put more vendors, to put more tables, to just
Even if you don't want like maybe separate vendors in your own like the Digimon Card Fest area, you're renting out basically most of the convention center anyways. So why not just use all that free space that's
not that
around there?
convention center. That shit was big.
Yeah. No,
But
I
yeah,
know, but I'm
what you
saying in general, like use the other space that was available. You had one room for Dragon Ball.
Yeah,
Cool.
they had
You had
Dragon Ball tucked away to a literal conference
Yeah.
room.
Yeah.
You had
I know
a-
it's because they didn't have nationals there, but like
you had a
that
free
was weird.
play room, which is cool, but like you could have had room for vendors if that was the case. If you didn't want them in your own space of Bandai Card Fest, have the vendors be like, hey, pay us, I don't know, whatever money to rent the space for the day, and you're allowed to sell any of your shit. Just be in that area. You got that whole room to yourself, and our players can go over to you to buy stuff and cool, and we have no problem bringing them in, letting them use whatever it is. You know what I'm saying? Like they could have definitely done that if they don't want it in their own space, as well. Yeah, that's all I got on that part.
Yeah, there's definitely things that could have been done, and I hope that this is feedback that does reach Bandai and Play TCG's ears, because it was.
But
nice.
I thought the Nats itself, like the event, like for the competitors to play, was flawless. This is probably their best. I don't know about the other like regionals, in-person regionals that's gone on, but like the 3 Nats I've been to, this is the best ran Nats so far for 100%. No questions asked. It was smooth. It was transitionless. In between rounds was not long at all, and there was no hiccups really. That was really impressive as well. And the judging, from what I heard, was pretty good as well. I think they were all spot on from what I heard. No like bad judging or bad calls or missed calls or anything like that as well. Outside, I guess, the couple times that happened on the stream with like Destromon or whatever.
Oh my
but
goodness, bro.
That's neither here. That's not.
Let me hold on.
Anyways,
no, let me talk about that.
Besides that one, like besides that, from like the general of Nats, for like the, where we played and stuff, it was pretty good.
It's so. It's so infuriating being a person who's so heavily involved in Digimon, watching effects just blatantly get missed from both the player perspective and the judge perspective. From the player perspective, it's one thing, because I can understand nerves, you forget effects. That being said, I mean, forgetting to trash a security off of Galacticmon is a pretty egregious thing to forget, because for me, if I was playing Galactic,
that's the main effect of that
I
card.
go into Galactic is to trash your security, because I'm playing against Imperial and I don't want to swing into a Davis and Ken. Therefore, I'd rather just trash it out of security. That's neither here nor there. I can give a pass on that. I cannot give a pass on the judge forgetting, though. I can't. I cannot. And I know the judge is there. The judge isn't supposed to, overcorrect game state or anything of the sort. But like, when you look at the things that the judge did miss and didn't miss. And I'm not trying to use this to like bash on the judge, so don't take this as that. I'm just saying like there should be a more cognizant effort of paying attention to effects, because there was a Mike, what was it? A Lydramon
on top of a Wormmon for
on top of
2
a
Yeah, for 3.
Right, so for 2 cost instead of 3 cost, and that's egregious enough.
Well, the best part about that was that if he had actually Digivolved for 3, he wouldn't have gotten choked to 1 the next turn, because the way the memory ended up going, like I think he Giga-Deathed after that or something.
Yeah.
So he Digivolved for 2 and then Giga-Deathed. That's why he was able to Giga-Death, because he had a blue-green source. And then the way the memory got set back, he ended up getting choked to 1. And if he had actually just Giga-Deathed and put him to 9, he wouldn't have gotten choked to 1. He could have set himself to 3 and actually might have had a chance to play the game. So
Right.
just
You know,
random
if the
shit.
same sequence of events had turned out, like, exactly. So, like, that, they fucking forgot the galactic effect all the way. It was damn near I think it was starting up the Imperial player's turn. And then it was like, oh, you gotta trash security. And I was like, fuck, like, it's about time. It was so aggravating. But in general, I mean, we only watched like 2 Digimon matches, and they didn't really forget anything from the finals match that I saw, really. So I mean, generally it was good. I just like, that's just like those little things. It's those little gripes that I have as like a competitor, that I'm like, come on, like, we gotta pay attention to these things. But I mean, even just like match presentation, sitting in the audience, being able to watch the match was fantastic. I can say, while we didn't hear a lot of the commentating sometimes, but I know listening to those commentators at times, it was just like super infuriating, because, I mean, all right, so I'm gonna say this. I like Truechamp, but Truechamp should never touch Digimon again. Truechamp does not play the game, and it's a fucking shame, because I like him, but he should not commentate a game in which he has no up-to-date knowledge on. They had, shout out to the boy DigiPanda, he was up there. Shout out to Neighbor, who decided that he was going to commentate and be part of the commentating crew rather than participate in this year's Nats. If you don't know who Neighbor is, he is the only player to top with Numamon post-hit. 5th place he topped with Numamon. So I was actually surprised to see him commentating and not playing, but I couldn't tell his voice from others, so I don't know like what he was commentating, what he wasn't. DigiPanda's cool, DigiPanda's always nice, but like Steven, listening to Steven is just like, his commentating style is an entertaining commentating style, not an informative commentating style. And when I if I have to listen to commentary, I want my commentator to know what they're talking about. It's why, like, football is, I think, is a perfect example. I hate listening to Greg Olson. I hate it. I hate listening to him.
Damn, it's because he's white.
I hate. I'd rather listen to Tom Brady. All right,
No,
and I'm not.
Tom Brady is awful.
He's
That's what
terrible
I'm
at the
saying.
moment.
I hate listening to Greg Olson, and I'd rather listen to Tom Brady.
How you
Hey,
gonna say,
Tony
bro?
Romo
You
was
put
goated.
some respect.
Tony
for
Romo has been pretty.
Tony
is pretty
Romo
good.
is really good, though.
No. Put some respect on G-Reg and the 7th floor crew, bro. I can't even believe you just dissed my boy G-Reg like that. That's nuts.
G-Reg. Oh god.
Y'all don't know about the 7th floor crew?
We ain't gonna talk about any.
After
This
this,
is not a sports podcast.
Go YouTube this. Greg Olson had a rap. He was 7th floor, like him and his
Pass.
roommates had a rap.
Oh.
Yeah, go listen to that after this.
I know
Vardy,
what
you'd
it is.
appreciate
Yeah,
it.
I know what it is now.
Maybe no, but like sports, it comes to a point, like, if I don't like listening to the sports commentators, I will actively turn off their commentary and just watch the game. I would rather either go on YouTube and listen to some YouTube personalities commentate, or listen to like the local radio stations coverage of the game. So I think that is equally important, not just for Digimon, but for all the games. I know a lot of the One Piece players were upset because it felt like whoever was commentating for One Piece, I don't know, I wasn't paying attention, didn't know what they were talking about, and they would have rather.
Speaking of One Piece, bro, there's this I'm not gonna get too into it because it's a Digimon podcast, but there's this whole other controversy. I was watching this Blackbeard player play on stream, and it just, like, he literally, I guess nerves must have got to him, but he was playing against Black Yellow Luffy, and I've never seen a person throw a match so intentionally before. I don't know how to even explain that. I'm just gonna give him the benefit of the doubt, and I'm assuming nerves got to him because he was on stream and it was like a top 16 match and everything. But it literally looks like this guy got paid to lose. I don't even know like what to say. It was crazy watching it. But anyways, continue, Barney.
So the One Piece players, like, they didn't like some of the commentary that was happening during the One Piece matches, and I just, as listening to Truechamp and whoever else might have been commentating with him, that wasn't giving commentary that I liked. It's just we need people who know the game. I think when you're like, especially when your production quality is that high, your talent team needs to match it. And the likes of Aspira and Cosmic and Digipanda, they're great. But True Champ probably only plays One Piece.
Hey, great face for the game. He actually is the reason I even know how to play Digimon. But it's very obvious that he has not played this game in a long time. That's all.
And that's okay. There's so many other Digimon content creators, and I'm not trying to even point to ourselves. There are just other people who can give better insights, better commentary, better personality, and possibly match his personality. Because I know part of the reason that they use him is because he does have that like exuberant, outgoing, happy, energetic personality that you require of people to when they're on these, you know, what, there was like 2,000 people watching the stream at one point. Like, I get that. But as a spectator, I much more value the quality of what I'm listening to rather than listening to somebody who sounds energetic and happy, but they have no fucking clue what they're talking about. Outside of that, I mean, yeah, like the production of everything was great. I hope one thing that they do explore, because I'm tired of dealing with the bitchy ass fucking One Piece players, and I have to call out those stupid fucking One Piece players for this because it's so annoying. Listen, we're all Bandai card games, right? So why do I constantly have to listen to your bitch ass complain about how, oh, we have to watch a card game other than One Piece, and don't come here talking about how, oh, we want to watch a good card game. Now shut the fuck up. Just shut up. It's so annoying. All right. The Digimon players sit here, we watch it, we don't complain. Why do I have to listen to your bitching? You fucking entitled pricks. It's not all of you. It's just some of you, okay? I get it. I do hope that
one could say you just did the same for the One Piece card game, though. Just saying.
I do hope that they explore having separate streams that go on for the entire day, but I know that is such a massive undertaking, because at that point they're going to need to have streams for Gundam, Digimon, One Piece, Battle
and that's
Suits, I guess.
That's it. No.
Union Arena.
No.
That's 5 different card games that they need to have dedicated streams for. It means you need to have a dedicated production team, a dedicated commentary team. And I understand how big an undertaking that is. I don't have a problem with one stream event and then they have featured matches. Because I as a creator myself, I can't even begin to fathom the scale that something of that would require, both monetarily as well as, I mean, just think about it in this way, right? Like, sure, you can stream on each individual account, but like that's 5 times the cameras, 5 times the microphones. That's probably 5 times the crew. If you think it's like a crew of like 3 people minimum to run a stream, that's one person like overviewing the stream and then person switching and whatever. I don't know. There's so much logistics that I can get past that. I'm so tired of One Piece players in the comments talking about we gotta watch a bad card game. That's all I have to say about that. Anyways, Bandai Card Game Fest. A lot of pluses, a lot of great things. I do truly believe we have a lot of good things to look forward to. We obviously know that the next one will be sometime, well, I can't say obviously, no, let me take that back. It is very heavily presumed that our next one will be sometime in August, because that's when Nationals #1 is. Some people are suspecting it to be at Gen Con. I don't think that they'll have an event like that at Gen Con. I think, well, no, I don't. I think they'll continue to have 2 card game fests. And so that they'll do Gen Con with some Digimon events, but then they'll have Card Game Fest with Nationals 1 and One Piece Nationals 1, and then Card Game Fest 2 with Nationals 2 for Digimon and One Piece. I think that's cool. That's great. The fact that they went from Los Angeles to Dallas to Orlando really does give me a lot of hope for potentially getting one in New York. That's really awesome. I'm excited to hear what the next locations are. I love that they didn't just stay in Los Angeles. That's a really big boon for us as players. You know, Dan and myself, we would travel We were like $500 all in to Orlando, which was nice. Los Angeles was a bit more expensive for us last year. It'd be nice if it's in New York because we can just drive, spend our
Yeah, or
40
even
fucking
like
dollars
Philly.
in tolls and just call it a day because we're like right there. I think being able to give that chance to more players as they're in their areas is super cool. I know a lot of people enjoy Gen Con because they live in Indianapolis and they can just walk or drive a couple hours to Gen Con. For us, Gen Con is like 12 hours. So that's not even like close, which is unfortunate because we would love to go, but like we have to think about this. So there's a lot of upsides to look forward to in the competitive year of Digimon. And I said this on the last pod, but like 2025 is the make or break year for Digimon. We're gonna know a lot of things in this year, for better and for worse. But Card Game Fest Orlando was good. It's a good step in the right direction. At the bare minimum, there was a level of care for all of their card games that I felt like we hadn't really seen before, and I think that's super important to note. You know, you can say whatever you want about the way that product is printed and sold and yada yada yada, but at the end of the day, I mean, looking at everything that we had for Digimon at Card Game Fest, we're obviously second to One Piece, but everybody knew that. But hey,
Let's clarify. We are second. We're not below anything else, so.
that exactly. We are very clearly second.
Not
Right.
yet.
This
Like,
guy.
we're still
Anyways,
Until Gundam.
Anyways.
Gundam might push us out.
But and
It's
so
debatable.
Gundam, like that's such a good thing for them to be bringing, because if Gundam takes off, it only serves to create a bigger and more inclusive experience for all of their card games, because it means that they will bring things like Gundam Base and bring more exposure for, obviously they'll bring more exposure for Gundam, but all of that brings more exposure for Digimon and more exposure for Union Arena. And excuse me, I don't know if they'll ever combine I guess their 4 card games and then Dragon Ball, because Fusion World and Masters were supposed to be part of Battle Hour, which just got canceled because of the LA fires. So I mean,
Oof.
first of all, big shout out, condolences to those who
Yeah.
are living with those fires, because that's fucking scary ass thing to have to be dealing with, people losing their homes. So like, you know, if you guys want to support them and anything, I know there's tons of people with GoFundMe's and different ways to support those people. So big shout
For
out,
sure.
and we send our love and our thoughts there. But it's good that they canceled Battle Hour, so that, you know, you don't even put people in harm's way. But like, it brings the question, why not just combine that? Because that's what they did with the first one. Was it not worth combining? I figure, but then I guess the big thing, I don't know if it's always been like an Orlando or an LA event, and that's why they keep having it in LA. But I mean, at this point, you might as well just consider, like Dan said earlier, I mean, just rent out more space, just bring it along. It's just an extra thing for people to check out and do. I would have definitely checked it out. I didn't get to check it out last year because I was a competitor. But I mean, having been a spectator this year, I definitely would have tried to check it out. And I mean, hey, more Bandai exposure across IPs is always a welcome thing, right? So that's my hopes for Gundam. That even that worse, I mean, it's just more exposure to more Bandai IPs. And as a company, you know, the number one thing that speaks to Bandai is profits and money. And if there's a way to put, I mean, as much as I hate Bandai sometimes, I mean, I've got this wall of Gundam models that I bought from fucking Gundam Base, and obviously
He's never
Mike and
gonna
I
build.
bought our Gundam betas. I'll build them, don't you worry. I'll play Digimon, and you know, all these ways we give Bandai our money.
Yeah, I just want to say, I didn't have room for my beta kits coming home, so I threw out one of the boxes for the beta kit. Apparently, people are selling just
Yeah.
the box for like
$300.
$200.
I told you, it's so stupid. It really is
Ridiculous.
stupid.
Do not buy beta kits if you missed out. All of the cards in the beta kits will be released eventually, so just like
Yeah.
the arts won't be the same. I think the arts are exclusive, but Do not wish your fucking.
They
money.
confirmed at the Gundam show that all those cards are going to be in the future sets and stuff.
But that's a topic for Ready to
Yeah.
Deploy. So if
Yeah,
you
yeah.
aren't subscribed to that podcast on Spotify and or
You should
YouTube,
subscribe
please
to it.
go do that. And also subscribe to Mainface TCG, where you can find out all things on other card games. So we're going to wrap it up for today. My parting words is 2025 is the year of Digimon. We're not going to be the top, but that's okay. We don't need to be the top. If you guys, one of my favorite content creators is Cosmic Plays. You should go check him out on YouTube. He just did a video going over sales data from Q4, I think, for card games. And I haven't watched through the whole thing yet, but just even looking at the chart, I don't know like where he pulled his data from. He has his sources in the description. But seeing where Digimon is in relation to other card games is still really, like, we're in such a good position that the only way to look is up, right? Like there's no downside to where we are. The only way is up. Battle Spirits, that's when you have to be like, we're looking kind of murky over here. But no, Digimon is in a good position. 2025 is the year of Digimon. Let's all hold out together and see where this year takes us. Boys, what you have to say?
I will say that I didn't go into full detail about like Nats and stuff just because it was all negative. I will say though, last year was had a lot of ups and downs, right? And we ended on good notes. We hit, I don't know if y'all remember, but I think it was like last year's the post Nats last year's. My goal was to get an invite and also top regional or Ulti Cup, right? I ended up doing both, right?
Yeah.
So I just want to shoot my shot now again, like this year. Besides just I want to get an invite where it feels real, where it's like guaranteed, where I know I get my top 16 for sure. But also I'm really confident I think I can win a regional or Ulti Cup now, especially after my last my Ulti Cup run. Feel really comfortable with me saying that's definitely a goal for me for this year, and hopefully we get to Nats at least a winner for the one time.
That's the goal. That is true. I would like to actually qualify for Nats this year as well.
Yeah.
Hopefully there's more in-person events that are worthwhile going to, because webcam play is cool, it's nice, it's accessible, but I would like to play in person. So.
I would like to play it all. Going into my goal for 2025, find a locals.
Absolutely. And so with that being said, that is it for today's episode of DigiPod, the digital podcast. So thank you guys for listening, and Tamers, until we talk to you guys next time, peace out.
Peace.
Catch y'all on the next one.